Chapter 67 A Final Confrontation. The tension in the air was palpable as Mara and Kale prepared for what would be the decisive moment in their struggle against the looming threat. Their coalition, a testament to their dedication and diplomatic skill, had reached a critical juncture. The months of meticulous planning and alliance building had brought them to this point, where every decision made and every strategy employed would culminate in a confrontation that could alter the course of their kingdom's histories. The stakes were higher than ever, and the weight of their responsibility hung heavily over them. Weeks of strategizing and reinforcing their alliances had led to this moment. Mara and Kale, along with their most trusted advisors, had worked tirelessly to ensure that their coalition was prepared for the imminent clash. They had coordinated military efforts, shared intelligence, and aligned their strategies to present a united front. The final preparations involved a comprehensive assessment of their forces and a thorough review of their plans to ensure that no detail was overlooked. The urgency and gravity of the situation demanded precision and clarity. The coalition's readiness was put to the test as Mara and Kale gathered their forces and allies for the impending confrontation. The atmosphere among their troops and allies was a mix of determination and apprehension. Soldiers and commanders alike were aware that they were on the brink of a significant battle, and the unity of their forces was crucial. The sense of camaraderie and shared purpose among the coalition members was palpable, reflecting the collective resolve to face the threat head-on. As the moment of confrontation drew near, Mara and Kale took time to reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. They revisited their initial goals and the values that had driven them throughout their mission. This reflection reinforced their commitment and provided them with the emotional fortitude needed to face the impending battle. Their shared vision and determination were the cornerstones of their leadership, and they were prepared to draw upon these strengths as they stepped into the fray. The final confrontation unfolded with a dramatic intensity. Mara and Kale, leading their coalition with steadfast resolve, faced the threat with a combination of strategic acumen and courageous leadership. The battle was a complex and fluid engagement, characterized by shifting dynamics and high stakes. Each moment was critical, and every decision made in the heat of the conflict would have far-reaching consequences. The confrontation tested not only their tactical skills but also their ability to inspire and lead under pressure. Throughout the confrontation, Mara and Kale maintained a clear focus on their ultimate goal, protecting their kingdoms and preserving the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. Their leadership was evident in their ability to adapt to changing circumstances and to rally their forces in the face of adversity. They navigated the chaos of battle with a blend of strategic insight and personal bravery, demonstrating the depth of their commitment to their cause. As the confrontation reached its climax, the outcome was uncertain, and the future of their kingdoms hung in the balance. The final stages of the battle were marked by a heightened sense of urgency and determination. Mara and Kale's leadership shone through as they made critical decisions that would determine the resolution of the conflict. The culmination of their efforts and sacrifices was reflected in the outcome of the battle, which would ultimately shape the future of their realms. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Mara and Kale emerged with a profound sense of accomplishment and relief. The threat had been faced and overcome, but the victory came with the recognition of the costs and challenges they had endured. The final confrontation had tested their leadership and resolve, and the experience had reinforced their belief in the strength of their coalition and their commitment to their kingdoms. As they looked ahead, they were prepared to build on the lessons learned and to continue their journey with renewed purpose. The coordinates were set with meticulous precision, guiding Mara and Kale toward the location of the impending confrontation. The chosen site was a strategic stronghold nestled deep within the rugged terrain of the borderlands. This secluded location, chosen for its natural defenses and tactical advantages, was where the threat had consolidated its forces. The stronghold was not just a physical bastion but a symbol of the Dark Alliance's resolve to challenge everything Mara and Kale had strived to achieve. The gravity of the situation was palpable as they neared their destination. As they approached the stronghold, the landscape itself seemed to conspire with the looming threat. The borderlands were characterized by their harsh and unforgiving terrain, jagged ridges, deep valleys, and dense forests that obscured visibility and hindered movement. Each feature of the landscape presented a potential obstacle, a reminder of the formidable nature of the enemy they were about to face. The rugged terrain added an additional layer of complexity to the mission, making every step a calculated risk. The stronghold came into view as a dark and imposing structure against the backdrop of the rugged landscape. It was built into the natural rock formations, with fortified walls and strategic watchtowers that offered a commanding view of the surrounding area. The stronghold's design showcased the tactical acumen of its occupants, who had chosen the location for its defensibility and strategic value. The sight of it served as a stark reminder of the challenge that lay ahead. Mara and Kale's forces began their final preparations as they approached the stronghold. The atmosphere was charged with a blend of anticipation and tension. Troops and commanders alike were focused on their tasks, coordinating last-minute adjustments and ensuring that every detail of their strategy was in place. The meticulous planning and coordination that had characterized their approach were evident in the precision of their movements and the quiet intensity of their preparations. The stronghold's defenses were formidable, with layers of fortifications designed to repel any assault. Mara and Kale's forces had to navigate through a series of complex strategies to breach these defenses. This involved coordinating multi-pronged attacks, utilizing diversionary tactics, and leveraging their newly formed alliances to create a multi-layered assault plan. The complexity of the operation underscored the magnitude of the threat they faced and the high stakes of their mission. As the battle began, the harsh terrain and the stronghold's defenses combined to create a chaotic and grueling confrontation. Mara and Kale led their forces with unwavering determination, adapting their strategies in real time to respond to the shifting dynamics of the fight. The conflict was marked by intense clashes and strategic maneuvers, with both sides vying for control of the critical stronghold. Each moment was fraught with tension and urgency, reflecting the high stakes of the confrontation. Despite the challenges posed by the terrain and the stronghold's defenses, Mara and Kale's leadership and strategic foresight played a crucial role in the unfolding battle. Their ability to coordinate their forces, adapt to unforeseen developments, and inspire their troops was evident in the shifting momentum of the conflict. The battle tested their resolve and their ability to execute their plans under pressure, highlighting the depth of their commitment and their strategic prowess. As the confrontation reached its climax, the outcome remained uncertain. The stronghold's defenders fought fiercely, and the landscape itself seemed to conspire with them, adding to the difficulty of the assault. Mara and Kale's forces pressed forward with a final, determined push, driven by the weight of their mission and the necessity of securing victory. The culmination of their efforts and sacrifices would ultimately determine the future of their kingdoms and the success of their hard-won coalition. Mara and Kale stood at the forefront of their assembled forces, their presence radiating both authority and respect. Their leadership was evident in the way they commanded the attention of their troops and allies, who looked to them for guidance in this pivotal moment. The weight of their responsibility was apparent, but so was their unwavering commitment to the cause. They had meticulously planned every detail of their strategy, considering every possible scenario and preparing their troops for the ultimate clash. This preparation had not only sharpened their tactical approach, but also instilled a sense of confidence in their forces. The battlefield was a tapestry of organized chaos, with troops positioned according to the carefully crafted plans devised by Mara and Kale. The strategic placement of forces, the coordination of movements, and the alignment of their battle tactics all reflected the depth of their planning. Each unit was briefed on its role, and every maneuver was designed to maximize their advantage while mitigating the risks posed by the stronghold's formidable defenses. The level of detail and foresight involved in their strategy was a testament to the gravity of the situation and their dedication to securing victory. Their allies, though visibly battle-worn and weary from the prolonged conflict, displayed a remarkable resilience. The long days and arduous battles had tested their endurance, but their resolve remained unshaken. The unity that had once faltered in the face of adversity was now rekindled, driven by a shared purpose and the belief that this was the moment they had been waiting for. The camaraderie and mutual support among the Allied forces were palpable, reinforcing the strength of their coalition and their collective determination to succeed. As the forces prepared for the impending clash, Mara and Cale took a moment to address their troops, their voices carrying over the din of the battlefield. Their speeches were both inspirational and strategic, aimed at rallying their forces and solidifying their resolve. They spoke of the sacrifices made, the challenges overcome, and the importance of the mission at hand. Their words resonated deeply with their troops, igniting a renewed sense of purpose and commitment to the fight ahead. The tension in the air was almost tangible as the final preparations were made. Each unit took its place, and the battlefield was set for the confrontation that would determine the fate of their kingdoms. The Allies, united by a common cause and driven by the leadership of Mara and Cale, stood ready to face the formidable enemy. The intricate plans laid out by the two rulers were now set into motion, with every move and counter-move meticulously executed to achieve their objectives. As the battle commenced, the initial clash was intense and chaotic. Mara and Cale's forces engaged with the enemy's defenders, each side vying for control of the strategic stronghold. The battlefield was a maelstrom of clashing armies, with the stronghold's defenders fighting tenaciously to repel the assault. The effectiveness of Mara and Cale's strategy was put to the test as they adapted their tactics in response to the evolving dynamics of the battle. Despite the fierce resistance, the unity and determination of Mara and Cale's forces began to make a difference. The combined strength of their strategic planning, their allies' resilience, and their troops' unwavering resolve started to shift the momentum in their favor. The battle, though far from over, began to tilt towards the coalition's advantage as Mara and Cale continued to lead with precision and courage. Their presence on the battlefield was a beacon of hope and strength for their forces. As the confrontation reached its critical juncture, the culmination of Mara and Cale's efforts and sacrifices was at hand. The stronghold's defenses, once a formidable barrier, were beginning to falter under the relentless assault of the united forces. The outcome of the battle would not only determine the immediate success of their mission but also shape the future of their kingdoms. With every advance and every strategic maneuver, Mara and Cale drew closer to achieving the victory they had so desperately fought for. The initial engagement was fierce and chaotic, a maelstrom of clashing forces and tumultuous noise. Mara and Cale moved through the fray with a practiced ease, their synchronized actions reflecting the countless hours of preparation they had invested. The battlefield echoed with the clanging of steel, the roar of combatants, and the shouts of commanders issuing orders. The intensity of the confrontation was palpable, with every moment filled with the urgency of their mission. Mara and Cale's coordination was seamless, a testament to the rigorous training and strategic planning they had undergone together. Their movements on the battlefield were both deliberate and instinctive, honed by the countless simulations and drills they had conducted in the lead-up to this day. Their leadership and tactical prowess were evident in their ability to direct their forces and respond to the fluid dynamics of the battle with precision and agility. Each step they took through the chaos was calculated and deliberate, aimed at maximizing their effectiveness in the conflict. Mara's sharp eyes scanned the battlefield, noting shifts in enemy formations and opportunities for advantageous maneuvers. Cale, equally vigilant, provided strategic guidance and rallied his troops with commanding presence. Their decisions, made amidst the whirlwind of combat, were critical to steering their forces towards victory. The cacophony of the battlefield created a sensory overload, but Mara and Cale remained focused. The clash of weapons, the cries of wounded soldiers, and the overall din of the engagement only fueled their determination. They fought with a fierce resolve, driven by a profound sense of duty and a personal commitment to their people and their vision of peace. Each strike, each maneuver, was a testament to their dedication to the cause they had championed. Their actions on the battlefield were not just about tactical advantage. They were also a demonstration of their unwavering commitment to the ideals they held dear. The stakes of the battle were not just about immediate victory, but about the broader implications for their kingdoms and the future they had envisioned. Mara and Cale's leadership was marked by their ability to inspire and motivate their troops, reinforcing their belief in the mission they were undertaking. Despite the chaotic nature of the engagement, there was a clear sense of purpose in their efforts. The strategies they had meticulously planned were being put to the test, and their ability to adapt to the evolving situation was critical. Mara and Cale's presence was a stabilizing force amidst the turmoil, providing direction and encouragement to their forces as they pressed forward in the battle. As the fight raged on, the determination of Mara and Cale's forces began to turn the tide in their favor. The coordinated efforts of their troops, combined with the strategic acumen of their leaders, started to make an impact on the battlefield. The stronghold's defenses, once a formidable barrier, began to show signs of weakening under the relentless assault. With every critical decision and every determined advance, Mara and Cale drew closer to achieving their objective. The battlefield was a dynamic and evolving landscape, and their ability to lead with clarity and conviction was pivotal. The culmination of their efforts and sacrifices was within reach, and the outcome of the battle would shape the future of their kingdoms and the hard-won peace they sought to protect. As the battle raged on, Mara and Cale's focus shifted to a more personal confrontation. At the heart of the conflict stood the leader of the threat, an enigmatic figure whose shadow had loomed over their efforts for far too long. This leader was the embodiment of the opposition's ambitions and malice, their presence on the battlefield a testament to the serious challenge that Mara and Cale faced. The confrontation was not merely a clash of armies but a direct and intense personal duel, where the stakes were nothing less than the future they had fought so hard to shape. The encounter between Mara, Cale, and their adversary was charged with raw emotion and tension. The air between them crackled with the weight of unresolved conflicts and the culmination of their long struggle. Words were exchanged with a fervor that mirrored the intensity of the physical confrontation. The dialogue was harsh and accusatory, each leader voicing their grievances and accusations with unrestrained candor. The verbal exchange was as much a battle as the clash of weapons, reflecting the deep ideological divide between them. In this face-to-face confrontation, the struggle transcended the physical realm, evolving into a clash of ideologies and visions for the future. Mara and Cale were not just fighting for victory in the present battle but for their vision of a better world. Their adversary, in turn, was fighting to impose a vision that contradicted everything Mara and Cale had worked to achieve. The battle became a symbolic representation of the broader conflict between conflicting values and goals. The intensity of their personal struggle was mirrored in the physical combat that followed. Mara and Cale, fueled by their convictions and the stakes of the confrontation, fought with a determined ferocity. Each strike and parry was infused with the weight of their shared commitment to their cause. Their coordination in battle was a testament to their partnership, a synchrony born from years of facing challenges together and refining their strategies. The enigmatic leader, equally resolute, fought with a fervor that matched the depth of their ambitions. The leaders' tactics were cunning and their resolve unwavering, presenting a formidable challenge to Mara and Kale. This confrontation was not only a test of physical prowess but also a test of their ability to remain steadfast in their vision and values amidst the chaos of combat. The leaders' presence on the battlefield underscored the seriousness of the threat they posed and the depth of their opposition. As the confrontation reached its zenith, it became clear that the outcome of this personal duel would have significant implications for the battle and the future of their kingdoms. The intensity of their struggle underscored the critical nature of the moment. Victory or defeat in this confrontation would not only influence the immediate battle but also shape the long-term trajectory of their efforts and the vision they sought to implement. Mara and Kale's resolve and determination were tested to their limits. They fought not only with their physical strength but with the weight of their convictions, the support of their allies, and the hope of their people. The confrontation was a culmination of everything they had worked for, and their ability to overcome this final obstacle was essential to securing their vision of a peaceful and stable future. As the battle reached its conclusion, the outcome of their confrontation with the enigmatic leader would determine the fate of their mission and their kingdoms. The struggle was a powerful reminder of the complexities and sacrifices inherent in their quest for peace and unity. Mara and Kale stood at the crossroads of their journey, their personal and ideological battles shaping the ultimate resolution of their long and arduous struggle. In a dramatic turn of events, Mara and Kale's combined strength began to shift the momentum of the battle decisively in their favor. Their leadership and unity, which had been the bedrock of their strategy, now became a powerful force on the battlefield. Mara and Kale fought side by side with a fierce resolve that resonated through their ranks. Their coordinated efforts and unwavering determination served as a beacon of hope and strength for their troops, who began to rally with a renewed sense of purpose and vigor. The atmosphere on the battlefield shifted as Mara and Kale's inspiration sparked a resurgence in their forces. The previously faltering coalition troops, rejuvenated by the sight of their leaders' valor and unity, pressed forward with newfound energy. Their morale was lifted by the visible commitment of their rulers, who led by example and encouraged their soldiers to push through the hardship. The renewed vigor of the troops was palpable, manifesting in a more aggressive and determined assault against their adversaries. The final clash of the battle unfolded as a testament to both strategic brilliance and raw determination. Mara and Kale's meticulously planned strategies were executed with precision, combining their tactical acumen with their soldiers' resilience. Their approach was not merely reactive but proactive, utilizing every advantage and adapting to the shifting dynamics of the conflict. The battle lines shifted as the coalition's forces pressed forward, their collective strength becoming an unstoppable tide against the enemy. The enemy, once confident and aggressive, began to falter under the relentless advance of the coalition. The enemy's lines, previously imposing and formidable, showed signs of disintegration. Overwhelmed by the unyielding defense mounted by Mara and Kale's forces, and disoriented by the continuous pressure from the renewed coalition assault, the adversaries struggled to maintain their footing. Their previously coordinated attacks became disjointed as their morale crumbled under the weight of the relentless onslaught. The turning point in the battle was marked by a surge of success for Mara and Kale's forces. The once dominant threat was now visibly shaken, and the coalition's persistent pressure began to force critical errors from their opponents. As the enemy's defenses weakened, the coalition seized the opportunity to push harder, exploiting every breach and disorganization in their foes' ranks. The tide of the battle had turned, and the momentum was clearly on their side. Amidst the chaos of the final engagement, Mara and Kale's leadership was a beacon of resolve and clarity. Their strategic decisions, combined with their unyielding spirit, were instrumental in turning the battle. The sight of their leaders fighting with such determination inspired their troops to further push forward, turning the battlefield into a showcase of unity and collective strength. The clarity of their vision and the effectiveness of their strategy began to materialize in the form of a tangible victory. As the enemy forces continued to crumble, Mara and Kale's coalition began to consolidate their gains. The battlefield, once a scene of intense conflict, started to reflect the shifting balance of power. The coalition's forces, now buoyed by their leader's success and their own resurgence, continued to advance with relentless efficiency. The final stages of the battle saw the coalition pressing their advantage, systematically dismantling the enemy's remaining resistance. The ultimate victory was a dramatic affirmation of Mara and Kale's combined strength and unyielding resolve. Their leadership had turned the tide of the battle, transforming a dire situation into a triumphant outcome. The once threatening adversary was now a defeated foe, and the coalition's victory was a testament to the effectiveness of their unity, strategy, and sheer determination. This decisive moment marked not only the end of the immediate threat, but also the beginning of a new chapter in their quest for lasting peace and stability. With the threat vanquished, the battlefield fell into a tense and somber silence. The cacophony of clashing steel and shouted commands that had defined the conflict gave way to an eerie quiet, punctuated only by the distant sounds of the wounded and the occasional murmur of those assessing the damage. Mara and Kale stood amidst the aftermath, their figures silhouetted against the backdrop of a scarred and battered landscape. The physical and emotional toll of the battle was evident in their weary expressions, each bearing the marks of a grueling and hard-fought victory. The weight of what they had endured and accomplished settled heavily upon them. The final confrontation had tested every facet of their leadership, from strategic acumen to personal resolve. The battle had not only been a trial of their military capabilities, but also of their unwavering commitment to their shared vision of peace. As they surveyed the aftermath, the enormity of their achievement and the sacrifices made became starkly apparent. The realization of the price paid and the victory won was a complex mix of relief, sorrow, and exhaustion. As the sun began to rise over the horizon, its golden light spilled across the battlefield, casting a soft, almost ethereal glow on the scarred terrain. The dawn marked the end of a tumultuous chapter, illuminating the remnants of the conflict and the promise of a new day. The light seemed to symbolize the hope and potential of what lay ahead. Mara and Kale stood together in this moment of transition, their shared gaze reflecting both the finality of their struggle and the anticipation of the future. Despite the resolution of this battle, they understood that it was not an end but rather a new beginning. The conclusion of the confrontation was a significant milestone, but it signaled the start of an even more critical phase of their journey. Rebuilding the war-torn lands and reaffirming the hard-won peace would require as much effort, if not more, than the battle itself. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, including mending alliances, addressing the needs of their people, and ensuring that the fragile peace they had secured would endure. The aftermath of the battle demanded careful consideration and decisive action. Mara and Kale would need to focus on the long-term implications of their victory, addressing both the immediate needs of their realms and the broader goal of maintaining stability. Their leadership would be tested anew as they navigated the complexities of post-war recovery. The task of restoring normalcy and ensuring that their coalition remained united was crucial for the sustainability of the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. Their journey had reached a dramatic conclusion, but it was clear that the work of rebuilding was only beginning. The scars of battle would take time to heal, and the process of reconstruction would require patience, resilience, and continued collaboration with their allies. Mara and Kale were committed to leading their people through this challenging period, applying the same resolve and strategic thinking that had guided them through the conflict. In the quiet aftermath of the battle, Mara and Kale took a moment to reflect on their journey and the path that lay ahead. Their shared experiences and the trials they had faced together had forged a bond that would carry them through the challenges of rebuilding. The strength of their partnership and their unwavering commitment to their vision of peace would be instrumental in guiding their realms toward a brighter future. As they prepared to embark on the next phase of their journey, Mara and Kale were resolute in their mission. The resolution of the battle had affirmed their belief in the power of unity and the importance of their shared goals. With a renewed sense of purpose and the dawn of a new era before them, they were ready to face the challenges of rebuilding and reaffirming the peace they had secured, knowing that their combined strength and leadership would see them through. Chapter 68: A Hopeful Future. The first light of dawn filtered through the clouds, casting a gentle, golden glow over the remnants of the battlefield. The early morning rays touched the scarred terrain, bringing a soft illumination to the site of the recent conflict. This subtle light seemed to breathe life back into the land, highlighting both the damage inflicted and the promise of a new beginning. The once chaotic battleground now lay under a serene sky, the violence of the night giving way to the quiet of the morning. The air was filled with the scent of fresh earth mingled with the faint aroma of smoke and metal, remnants of the battle that had raged just hours before. The distant murmurs of the victors' preparations and the rustling of movement among the troops created a backdrop of cautious optimism. Despite the lingering tension, there was a noticeable shift from the frenetic energy of the fight to a more reflective and subdued atmosphere. As the last echoes of the final confrontation faded into memory, Mara and Kale stood side by side, their presence a symbol of the unity and strength that had carried them through the struggle. They surveyed the scene before them with a mix of solemnity and satisfaction. The landscape was visibly scarred, marked by the evidence of fierce combat, but it also held the promise of recovery and renewal. The site of the battlefield, though marred by destruction, was now bathed in the soft light of dawn. The scene that unfolded before them was a poignant reminder of the high cost of their victory. Every ridge and valley bore witness to the intensity of the struggle, and the once violent terrain now stood in a state of tentative calm. Despite the visible damage, the atmosphere was charged with a sense of relief that the immediate danger had been quelled. It was a moment for Mara and Kale to reflect on the journey they had undertaken and the obstacles they had overcome. Mara and Kale's expressions mirrored the complex emotions of the morning. They were both exhausted and elated, their faces showing the weariness of battle tempered by the satisfaction of achieving their hard-won goal. Their bond was evident as they stood together, their shoulders touching in a gesture of mutual support. This moment of tranquility allowed them to absorb the gravity of their success and the implications it held for their future. The relief and renewal in the atmosphere were palpable, offering a brief respite from the intense demands of leadership and strategy. The dawn's light, soft and promising, seemed to signal a new chapter in their journey. It was a chance to regroup, reassess, and prepare for the next steps in their mission to rebuild and restore the peace they had fought so hard to secure. As Mara and Kale took in the scene, their thoughts were already turning to the tasks that lay ahead. The battlefield might have quieted, but the work of healing and rebuilding was just beginning. The soft dawn light offered not just a visual reprieve but a metaphorical one, illuminating the path forward and inspiring them to continue their efforts with renewed determination and hope. In the days following the battle, Mara and Kale faced the monumental task of rebuilding with a focused and determined approach. The immediate aftermath of the conflict required their full attention to address the extensive needs of those impacted by the turmoil. Their priority was to tend to the wounded, many of whom were in desperate need of medical care and support. Mara, with her knowledge of healing and herbal remedies, took a hands-on role in coordinating medical teams and ensuring that those injured in the battle received the best possible care. Providing aid to the displaced was another critical task. The battle had forced many from their homes, leaving them in precarious situations with little more than the clothes on their backs. Kale, Utilizing his skills in logistics and resource management, spearheaded efforts to establish temporary shelters and distribute essential supplies such as food, water, and clothing. His focus was on creating safe havens where the displaced could find refuge and begin to rebuild their lives. Mara and Kale understood the importance of ensuring that their coalition's efforts were effectively directed towards tangible recovery. They organized relief operations with the same precision and strategic care that had characterized their military planning. Each initiative was carefully mapped out to maximize impact and efficiency. They engaged with local leaders and community organizers to assess needs and prioritize actions, ensuring that no area was neglected. The scale of the rebuilding effort was immense, but Mara and Kale approached it with a sense of purpose and unity. They established a central command to oversee the recovery process, coordinating with various factions within their coalition to streamline efforts and avoid duplication. Their leadership was instrumental in keeping the recovery efforts organized and focused, providing clear guidance and support to all involved. Amidst the logistical challenges, Mara and Kale took time to address the emotional and psychological toll of the conflict. They organized counseling and support services to help individuals and communities cope with the trauma of the battle. Recognizing that recovery was as much about healing minds and hearts as it was about rebuilding infrastructure, they ensured that mental health resources were an integral part of their recovery strategy. The process of rebuilding was not just about repairing physical damage, but also about restoring hope and confidence among their people. Mara and Kale worked tirelessly to communicate their commitment to a brighter future, offering reassurance and encouragement. Their visible dedication to the recovery efforts served to inspire their citizens and reinforce the shared goal of rebuilding and moving forward together. As the initial recovery phase began to take shape, Mara and Kale looked towards the future with a renewed sense of purpose. They knew that the path to a hopeful future began with addressing the immediate needs of their people, but they were also mindful of the long-term challenges that lay ahead. Their strategic planning now focused on sustainable rebuilding and ensuring that the hard-won peace they had fought for would endure. The challenges of reconstruction loomed large as Mara and Kale embarked on the monumental task of rebuilding their war-torn realms. The physical damage inflicted by the conflict required extensive repairs to critical infrastructure. Roads, bridges, and public buildings had been devastated, and restoring these essential structures became a top priority. Mara and Kale oversaw the assessment of the damage and coordinated repair efforts, ensuring that resources were allocated efficiently to address the most urgent needs first. In addition to infrastructure repair, the allocation of resources became a crucial aspect of their reconstruction strategy. The battle had strained their supply chains and depleted essential resources, making it necessary to reorganize and prioritize the distribution of materials. Mara and Kale worked closely with their logistical teams to manage the flow of supplies, including food, construction materials, and medical provisions. Their goal was to ensure that all affected areas received the support they needed to recover and rebuild. Rebuilding trust was another significant challenge that Mara and Kale faced. The conflict had strained relationships between various factions and communities, and restoring a sense of unity and cooperation was essential for a successful recovery. Mara and Kale made it a point to engage directly with local leaders and community representatives, listening to their concerns and addressing grievances. They worked to demonstrate that their policies and decisions reflected the values of collaboration and mutual support that had been central to their campaign. Mara and Kale understood that healing the rifts within their own realms was just as important as the physical reconstruction. The internal divisions that had surfaced during the conflict needed to be addressed to restore stability and foster a sense of normalcy. They initiated dialogue sessions and town hall meetings to facilitate open communication between the government and the people. By actively involving citizens in the recovery process, and addressing their concerns, they aimed to rebuild confidence in their leadership and governance. Their tireless efforts extended beyond administrative tasks as they personally visited affected areas to show their commitment and solidarity. Mara and Kale made it a priority to connect with the communities most impacted by the conflict, offering support and reassurance. Their presence was a powerful symbol of their dedication to the recovery and their shared vision for a unified future. The complexity of the reconstruction process demanded not only logistical acumen but also emotional resilience. Mara and Kale worked to balance the immediate needs of their people with the long-term goals of rebuilding and healing. They recognized that the process of recovery was as much about restoring hope and confidence as it was about repairing physical damage. Their leadership was instrumental in guiding their realms through this challenging period. As they navigated the multifaceted challenges of reconstruction, Mara and Kale remained focused on their overarching goal of unity and stability. They understood that the road ahead would be long and arduous, but their commitment to their people and their shared vision for the future drove them forward. With each step, they worked to ensure that the values of cooperation and resilience would define the rebuilding process and lay the foundation for a stronger, more unified future. Amidst the reconstruction efforts, Mara and Kale recognized that the aftermath of the conflict presented unique opportunities for growth and collaboration. They understood that while the physical damage from the battle was significant, the period of recovery also offered a chance to build a stronger foundation for future stability. Seizing these opportunities became a strategic priority as they sought to not only repair their kingdoms but also to enhance their geopolitical standing. With this in mind, Mara and Kale turned their attention to forging new alliances and strengthening existing ones. They leveraged their diplomatic skills to reach out to neighboring states and former allies, inviting them to participate in discussions about mutual interests and shared goals. These interactions were carefully orchestrated to build trust and demonstrate their commitment to a collaborative approach. By engaging with these entities, they aimed to create a robust network of support that would bolster their efforts and reinforce their vision for peace. Establishing forums for ongoing dialogue became a key aspect of their diplomatic strategy. Mara and Kale organized a series of conferences and summits, where leaders from various realms could come together to discuss common concerns and opportunities. These forums provided a platform for exchanging ideas, addressing grievances, and exploring avenues for cooperation. By fostering open communication, Mara and Kale sought to build a sense of community among their allies and encourage collaborative problem-solving. Their diplomatic initiatives were designed not only to repair what had been broken but also to lay the groundwork for a thriving future. Mara and Kale envisioned a network of alliances that would support their kingdom's growth and stability long after the immediate recovery phase was over. They worked diligently to ensure that these relationships were mutually beneficial and that each partner felt valued and included in the broader vision for a united and prosperous future. The process of building these new alliances required patience and strategic thinking. Mara and Kale navigated a complex landscape of interests and motivations, tailoring their approach to address the specific needs and concerns of each potential ally. They understood that creating a sustainable network of support would take time and effort, but they were committed to the long-term success of their diplomatic endeavors. As they progressed, the fruits of their labor began to emerge. The growing network of allies provided valuable resources, intelligence, and support for their reconstruction efforts. The collaborative framework they established contributed to a sense of shared purpose and mutual benefit, enhancing the overall stability and resilience of their kingdoms. Mara and Kale's vision of a cooperative future started to take shape, guided by the strong relationships they had cultivated. Through their efforts, Mara and Kale not only addressed the immediate needs of their realms, but also set the stage for a future characterized by unity and collaboration. Their strategic use of the post-conflict period to forge new alliances and strengthen old ones was a testament to their forward-thinking leadership. By creating a framework for continued cooperation, they ensured that their kingdoms would not only recover but thrive in the years to come. As the weeks turned into months, the progress of recovery became increasingly evident. The landscape, once marred by the scars of battle, began to undergo a remarkable transformation. Nature slowly reclaimed its place, with green shoots pushing through the remnants of conflict, signaling the start of a new chapter. Communities that had once been devastated by the conflict now began to rebuild their physical structures and their sense of normalcy. The once ruined towns and villages were now bustling with activity, as people worked together to restore their homes and lives. The emotional healing of the people was equally profound. The trials of the past had tested their resolve, but the resilience they demonstrated in the aftermath was a testament to their enduring spirit. As they rebuilt their homes and communities, there was a palpable shift in the atmosphere. The shared experiences of hardship and recovery fostered a deeper sense of unity and solidarity among them. The scars of the past were not forgotten but were seen as part of a collective journey towards a brighter future. Mara and Kale's leadership played a crucial role in this healing process. Their unwavering commitment to their people was evident in every decision they made and every initiative they undertook. They continued to engage directly with the communities, listening to their concerns and celebrating their achievements. Their presence provided reassurance and motivation, as they led by example, demonstrating that true leadership is about standing with one's people through both the trials and the triumphs. Their actions reflected a profound commitment to building a future that learned from the lessons of the past. Mara and Kale focused on creating policies and programs that addressed the root causes of conflict and promoted long-term stability. They implemented educational initiatives to foster understanding and cooperation, as well as economic programs to ensure that the benefits of recovery were widely shared. Their efforts were not just about repairing what had been broken but about laying the groundwork for a more resilient and cohesive society. The process of rebuilding was also marked by the strengthening of new and existing alliances. The coalition they had formed was not just a wartime necessity but a foundation for ongoing cooperation. Mara and Kale continued to nurture these relationships, ensuring that the bonds forged in the crucible of conflict remained strong. This network of support was instrumental in maintaining stability and fostering a collaborative spirit among their allies. As the months passed, the once divided communities began to thrive. The progress was evident in the revitalized marketplaces, the bustling schools, and the reinvigorated cultural events that once again brought people together. The landscape of their kingdoms was a blend of new growth and renewed hope, symbolizing the resilience and determination of their people. The recovery was not merely a return to the old ways but a step towards a better, more integrated future. Mara and Kale's leadership during this period underscored their vision of a unified society built on the lessons learned from past conflicts. Their dedication to healing, rebuilding, and fostering unity was a beacon of hope for their people. The progress made in the wake of the crisis was a testament to their strength and the collective effort of their communities. The path forward was now illuminated by the promise of a future where their kingdoms could thrive together, strengthened by the trials they had overcome. In quiet moments, Mara and Kale found solace in reflection as they walked through the gardens that had once been the site of their first celebration. The gardens, now a symbol of their enduring hope, were a tranquil retreat from the demands of leadership and the complexities of rebuilding. The paths were lined with blooming flowers and freshly planted trees, their vibrant colors and scents a reminder of the renewal they had worked so hard to achieve. As they strolled through the serene landscape, the beauty of their surroundings reflected the promise of a brighter future. During these walks, Mara and Kale would often discuss their dreams for the future. They spoke with a shared enthusiasm about the plans they envisioned for further collaboration between their kingdoms. Their conversations were filled with ideas for innovative projects and initiatives that would build upon the progress they had made. They explored ways to strengthen their alliance, enhance cultural exchanges, and develop joint ventures that would benefit both realms. Their dialogue was a testament to their commitment to a shared vision of continued growth and cooperation. Their discussions also included reflections on the journey they had undertaken. They recounted the trials they had faced, the challenges they had overcome, and the lessons they had learned along the way. The scars of conflict were not viewed as mere remnants of the past, but as integral parts of their story that had shaped their leadership and their partnership. Each obstacle had been met with resilience and determination, and each victory had been a stepping stone toward their ultimate goals. Mara and Cale's shared vision was one of transformation and hope. They dreamed of a future where the pain of conflict would be replaced by the beauty of new beginnings. They imagined a world where their kingdoms could thrive together, supported by the strength of their alliance and the unity of their people. The gardens, with their blossoming flowers and renewed vitality, served as a metaphor for the flourishing future they hoped to create. As they envisioned this hopeful future, they also recognized the importance of continuing to address the challenges that lay ahead. They spoke of the need to remain vigilant and adaptable, ensuring that their collaborative efforts were always aligned with their long-term goals. Their commitment to innovation and progress was driven by a desire to build a legacy that would endure beyond their own leadership, creating a lasting impact for generations to come. In these moments of quiet reflection, Mara and Cale found strength in their shared purpose. Their bond was a source of support and inspiration, reinforcing their resolve to lead with integrity and vision. They knew that the path to a better future was paved with both the successes they had achieved and the ongoing efforts required to sustain their progress. Their conversations were a reminder of the importance of remaining focused on their goals, even as they celebrated their accomplishments. The gardens, once a symbol of their early triumphs, had come to represent the enduring hope and potential of their shared journey. As Mara and Cale walked hand in hand through this revitalized space, they were reminded of the transformative power of their leadership and the strength of their partnership. Their reflections were not just about celebrating their past but about embracing the future with optimism and determination, guided by the lessons they had learned and the dreams they continued to pursue. As they looked toward the horizon, Mara and Cale were acutely aware that their work was far from finished. The sweeping vista before them, once a battleground, now symbolized both the triumphs and the ongoing challenges of their journey. The landscape, though healing, was a reminder that the path ahead would be marked by new obstacles and uncertainties. They understood that maintaining the peace they had fought so hard to achieve required constant vigilance and adaptability. The horizon was not just a boundary but a canvas of potential and promise, reflecting the expansive scope of their mission. Despite the challenges that lay ahead, Mara and Cale were resolute in their confidence. Their united front, forged through trials and strengthened by shared vision, was their greatest asset. They had faced adversity together and emerged stronger, their bond a powerful testament to the strength of their alliance. This shared resolve gave them the assurance that they could navigate whatever difficulties the future might bring. They approached the unknown with a blend of cautious optimism and unwavering commitment, trusting in their ability to overcome challenges through cooperation and mutual support. With each step they took, Mara and Cale remained focused on their broader vision. Their efforts were not limited to maintaining peace but extended to creating a world brimming with possibilities. They envisioned a future where their kingdoms could thrive together, leveraging their strengths and collaborating on initiatives that would benefit all. Their ongoing work was a reflection of their dedication to building a society where innovation and unity went hand in hand. Each action they took was aimed at laying the groundwork for a future rich with opportunities and promise. Their journey had been a testament to the power of their alliance and the strength of their partnership. The obstacles they had overcome and the successes they had achieved were milestones in their shared quest for a better world. The foundation they had built was not merely about securing peace, but about fostering an environment where their people could flourish. Their leadership was characterized by a deep commitment to both the present and the future, ensuring that their efforts would have a lasting impact. As they moved forward, Mara and Kale remained mindful of the lessons they had learned. Their experiences had taught them the importance of resilience, adaptability, and collaboration. They approached each new challenge with the understanding that their past achievements were stepping stones to greater goals. Their leadership was informed by a continuous process of learning and growth, driven by a desire to build upon their successes and address emerging issues with wisdom and foresight. The promise of a hopeful future was a central theme in their vision. They were determined to create a legacy that would inspire and uplift future generations. The progress they had made was a source of motivation, reinforcing their belief in the potential for positive change. They saw their work as a contribution to a larger narrative of growth and possibility, where the benefits of their efforts would extend beyond their own time and influence. As they gazed into the distance, Mara and Kale were filled with a sense of purpose and anticipation. The horizon represented both a challenge and an opportunity, a reminder that their journey was ongoing and that their commitment to building a better world was unwavering. With every step they took, they continued to shape a future defined by hope, unity, and endless possibilities. Their partnership and shared vision remained the driving force behind their endeavors, guiding them toward a brighter and more inclusive tomorrow. Chapter 69: A Lasting Legacy. In the aftermath of their recent trials and triumphs, Mara and Kale took time to reflect on the journey that had brought them to this moment. The victories they had secured, the challenges they had overcome, and the alliances they had forged all stood as testament to their resilience and determination. Yet, as they looked back, they understood that their achievements were not merely about the peace they had secured for their people. The true measure of their success lay in the legacy they would leave behind, a legacy that would echo through the ages, guiding future generations toward the ideals they had fought to uphold. This realization prompted Mara and Kale to shift their focus toward the future. They knew that their leadership had been defined by the choices they had made in times of crisis, but they also recognized the importance of building a foundation that would endure beyond their reign. They began to explore ways to institutionalize the values and principles that had guided their decisions, ensuring that the hard-won peace and unity would continue to flourish long after they were gone. It was not enough to simply lead in the present. They needed to create a lasting framework that would support their vision for generations to come. One of their first initiatives was to establish a council dedicated to preserving and advancing the cooperative spirit that had defined their alliance. This council would be composed of representatives from across their kingdoms and beyond, tasked with maintaining open dialogue, fostering collaboration, and addressing any future challenges that might arise. By creating a formal structure for continued cooperation, Mara and Kale aimed to solidify the bonds they had nurtured and prevent the divisions that had once threatened their realms. Additionally, Mara and Kale turned their attention to education and cultural exchange as vital components of their legacy. They believed that by promoting understanding and respect among their peoples, they could cultivate a lasting peace rooted in shared values and mutual appreciation. To this end, they invested in the creation of academies, libraries, and cultural centers that would serve as hubs of learning and exchange. These institutions would not only preserve the knowledge and wisdom gained from their experiences, but also inspire future generations to build upon their achievements. As part of their efforts to ensure a sustainable future, Mara and Kale also prioritized environmental stewardship. They recognized that the prosperity of their kingdoms was inextricably linked to the health of the natural world. By implementing policies that promoted conservation, responsible resource management, and ecological harmony, they sought to protect the environment for the benefit of all. This commitment to sustainability became a cornerstone of their legacy, reflecting their deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. Their work extended to fostering innovation and progress in various fields, including science, technology, and the arts. Mara and Kale encouraged their subjects to push the boundaries of knowledge and creativity, knowing that the future would be shaped by those who dared to dream beyond the limitations of the present. They supported initiatives that brought together diverse minds and talents, creating a vibrant atmosphere of exploration and discovery that would propel their societies forward. In their quieter moments, Mara and Kale would discuss their hopes for the future, envisioning a world where the principles they had championed would continue to thrive. They knew that their journey had not been without its sacrifices, but they took solace in the knowledge that their efforts had laid the groundwork for a brighter tomorrow. Their shared vision was one of enduring peace, prosperity, and possibility, a world where the lessons of the past would serve as a guide for building a better future. As they looked toward the horizon, Mara and Kale were filled with a sense of fulfillment. They had faced countless challenges, but their unwavering commitment to their ideals had seen them through. Now, as they prepared to step back and allow the next generation to carry the torch, they did so with confidence, knowing that their legacy would endure. The world they had helped to shape was one of hope and promise, a testament to the strength of their alliance and the enduring power of their shared vision. Mara and Kale's vision for a lasting legacy began with the creation of institutions that would embody their ideals of unity and collaboration. Understanding that their leadership extended beyond their reign, they focused on establishing a foundation dedicated to the pillars of education, cultural exchange, and innovation. This foundation would be a beacon of their shared vision, a place where their principles could flourish and be passed down through the generations. With a deep commitment to intellectual growth, they envisioned centers of learning that would bring together scholars, students, and thinkers from both of their kingdoms, fostering an environment where knowledge and creativity could thrive. The educational centers they founded were designed not just as places of learning, but as spaces where ideas could be freely exchanged across borders. Mara and Kale knew that by bringing together the brightest minds from their realms, they could cultivate a spirit of collaboration that transcended political boundaries. These institutions would encourage interdisciplinary studies, bridging the gap between different fields of knowledge and inspiring new ways of thinking. Through these efforts, they aim to equip future generations with the tools they would need to continue the work of building a unified and prosperous society. In addition to promoting intellectual growth, Mara and Kale's foundation placed a strong emphasis on cultural preservation and exchange. They understood that the strength of their alliance was rooted in the diversity of their peoples, and they sought to celebrate this diversity through initiatives that honored their distinct cultural heritages. Festivals, exhibitions, and collaborative projects were organized to showcase the unique traditions, art, and histories of both kingdoms. By fostering a deeper understanding and appreciation of each other's cultures, they hoped to strengthen the bonds between their peoples and ensure that their shared history would be cherished for generations to come. The Foundation's commitment to innovation was another key aspect of their legacy. Mara and Kale recognized that progress was essential to maintaining the peace and stability they had worked so hard to achieve. To this end, they established research centers that would focus on technological advancements, sustainable development, and environmental stewardship. These centers were tasked with finding solutions to the challenges their kingdoms faced, from resource management to climate change. By investing in innovation, they aimed to create a future where their kingdoms could continue to grow and thrive together, building on the foundations they had laid. Mara and Kale also understood the importance of leadership in shaping the future. As part of their legacy, they established programs within the Foundation to mentor and develop future leaders from both kingdoms. These programs focused on cultivating the values of empathy, cooperation, and visionary thinking that had defined their own leadership. By nurturing a new generation of leaders who shared their commitment to unity and collaboration, they hoped to ensure that their ideals would continue to guide their realms long after they were gone. The institutions and initiatives they created were not just about preserving the past or maintaining the status quo. They were about inspiring continuous growth and evolution. Mara and Kale believed that by laying a strong foundation, they could empower future generations to build upon their work and take it to new heights. They saw their legacy as a living, breathing entity, one that would adapt to the changing needs of their societies while staying true to the core principles that had guided them throughout their journey. As the foundation took shape, Mara and Kale took great pride in watching their vision come to life. The educational centers buzzed with activity, cultural events flourished, and the research initiatives began to yield promising results. Their kingdoms were not only recovering from the trials they had faced, but were also beginning to flourish in ways they had only dreamed of. The foundation they had established was more than just a monument to their reign. It was a gift to the future, a promise that the peace and prosperity they had fought for would endure. In the years to come, Mara and Kale's legacy would be felt in every corner of their realms. The institutions they founded would stand as testaments to their foresight, their dedication, and their unwavering belief in the power of unity. Through education, cultural exchange, and innovation, their influence would continue to shape the world they had worked so hard to build, ensuring that their ideals would resonate through the ages and inspire generations yet to come. As Mara and Kale turned their attention to the environmental sustainability of their kingdoms, they understood that the health of the land was intricately tied to the well-being of their people. The recent conflict had left scars not only on their societies but also on the natural world, and they were determined to heal these wounds. The reforestation programs they initiated were more than just a response to the damage. They were a declaration of their commitment to a future where nature and civilization could thrive in harmony. Together, they selected regions that had been most affected by the conflict, focusing on restoring the forests that had been lost. As saplings were planted, they envisioned these young trees growing into strong, enduring symbols of renewal. Beyond reforestation, Mara and Kale also prioritized the creation of protected wildlife reserves. These reserves were established in areas where biodiversity had been threatened by the recent upheavals. Working closely with environmental experts and local communities, they identified habitats that were crucial for the survival of endangered species. The reserves became sanctuaries, not just for wildlife, but for people as well, a place where the beauty and tranquility of nature could be experienced and appreciated. The reserves also served as a reminder that true prosperity could not be achieved without a deep respect for the natural world that sustained them all. In their quest for environmental sustainability, Mara and Kale recognized the need to address the root causes of environmental degradation. They introduced sustainable practices in agriculture and industry, ensuring that their kingdoms would not only recover from the recent devastation, but also avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. They encouraged farmers to adopt methods that replenished the soil and minimized waste, while industries were guided to reduce their environmental footprint. These changes required a shift in mindset, but Mara and Kale were unwavering in their belief that long-term prosperity could only be achieved through responsible stewardship of their resources. The ambitious environmental initiatives launched by Mara and Kale were deeply rooted in their shared vision of a future where their kingdoms coexisted peacefully with nature. They knew that these efforts would take time to bear fruit, but they were patient, understanding that true change often unfolded gradually. Their commitment to environmental sustainability was not just about addressing the immediate challenges. It was about laying the foundation for a future where the land, like their people, would thrive. They saw these projects as integral to the legacy they were building, a testament to their dedication to the greater good. As the environmental projects took shape, Mara and Kale made it a point to involve their people in the process. They believed that the success of their initiatives depended on the active participation of their citizens. Educational programs were launched to raise awareness about the importance of sustainability, and community-led efforts were encouraged to foster a sense of ownership and responsibility. Mara and Kale frequently visited these projects, engaging with the people who were directly involved in bringing their vision to life. Their presence was a source of inspiration, reinforcing the idea that the future they were building was a collective endeavor. The environmental sustainability efforts also strengthened the bonds between Mara and Kale's kingdoms. Joint initiatives, such as cross-border conservation projects and shared research into sustainable practices, became symbols of the deepening cooperation between their realms. These projects provided opportunities for citizens from both kingdoms to work together, fostering mutual understanding and respect. The success of these collaborations demonstrated that the ideals of unity and collaboration, which had guided Mara and Kale throughout their journey, were not just theoretical concepts. They were principles that could create tangible, positive change. As Mara and Kale reflected on the progress of their environmental initiatives, they felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The landscapes that had once been scarred by conflict were slowly transforming into verdant, thriving ecosystems. The wildlife reserves were bustling with life, and the sustainable practices they had championed were beginning to yield results. Their kingdoms were not just recovering, they were evolving into places where the balance between human needs and the natural world was carefully maintained. Mara and Kale knew that the path they had chosen was not the easiest, but it was the right one, and they were proud of the legacy they were creating. In the end, Mara and Kale's commitment to environmental sustainability became a defining aspect of their reign. Their efforts to restore and protect the natural world were not just acts of governance. They were expressions of their values and beliefs. They understood that the land was more than just a resource. It was a living entity that deserved care and respect. By prioritizing environmental stewardship, they ensured that their kingdoms would be places of beauty, abundance, and harmony for generations to come. As they looked out over the landscapes they had helped to renew, they saw not just the fruits of their labor, but the enduring promise of a future where nature and humanity thrived together. To enshrine their values and commemorate their achievements, Mara and Kale envisioned a monument that would stand as a symbol of their era's transformative journey. They commissioned the construction of a grand hall of history and honor, a monumental structure that would become a living testament to the resilience, cooperation, and unity that had defined their reign. The hall was designed to be a place where the stories of their people, the trials they had endured, and the victories they had achieved would be vividly displayed for generations to come. It would serve as both a museum and a sanctuary, preserving the collective memory of their kingdoms and celebrating the power of leadership guided by compassion and vision. The Grand Hall was to be more than just a repository of artifacts and documents. It was conceived as a living, breathing space that would engage and inspire all who entered. Mara and Kale envisioned a series of exhibits that would take visitors on a journey through time, from the days of division and conflict to the hard-won peace and unity that now defined their kingdoms. Each exhibit would be carefully curated to highlight the pivotal moments in their shared history, the challenges they had faced, and the decisions that had shaped their world. The hall would also feature interactive displays and immersive experiences, allowing visitors to engage with the past in a way that was both educational and deeply personal. Central to the design of the hall was a vast, circular chamber that would serve as its heart. This chamber would be dedicated to the stories of the people, the soldiers, artisans, scholars, and leaders, who had played a role in the journey toward unity. Their names and deeds would be etched into the walls, a permanent tribute to their contributions. At the center of the chamber, a large, intricately carved stone pillar would rise, symbolizing the strength and stability of the alliance between Mara and Kale. This pillar would be surrounded by a ring of light, representing the enduring hope and vision that had guided their leadership. In addition to chronicling the past, the Grand Hall was designed to be a beacon for the future. Mara and Kale wanted it to be a place where ideas could be exchanged, where leaders could come together to discuss the challenges of their time and find inspiration in the lessons of history. To this end, they incorporated a council chamber into the hall's design, a space where representatives from both kingdoms, and potentially from future allies, could gather to deliberate and forge new paths forward. This chamber would be equipped with the latest in communication and information technology, ensuring that it remained a hub of innovation and collaboration for years to come. The construction of the Grand Hall was a massive undertaking, involving artisans and craftsmen from both kingdoms. Mara and Kale were deeply involved in every aspect of the project, from selecting the site to approving the final designs. They saw the hall as a reflection of their shared values and a physical manifestation of the unity they had worked so hard to achieve. The process of building it was itself a testament to their commitment to collaboration, as teams from different regions and disciplines came together to create something truly magnificent. As the hall took shape, it began to draw attention not just from within their kingdoms, but from neighboring realms as well. Leaders from other lands expressed interest in visiting once it was completed, eager to see the embodiment of the unity and vision that had become so renowned. Mara and Kale saw this as an opportunity to extend their influence and to share the principles that had guided their leadership with a broader audience. They planned to host regular events at the hall, including conferences, cultural festivals, and exhibitions, making it a focal point for international dialogue and cooperation. When the Grand Hall was finally completed, it stood as a breathtaking symbol of what Mara and Kale had accomplished together. Its towering walls, adorned with intricate carvings and vibrant murals, told the story of a people who had overcome adversity through unity and shared purpose. The opening ceremony was a momentous occasion, attended by dignitaries from near and far, as well as countless citizens who had supported the vision from the beginning. As Mara and Kale stood before the assembled crowd, they knew that the hall would be a lasting tribute to their legacy, a place where the ideals they had championed would continue to inspire for generations to come. In the years that followed, the Grand Hall of History and Honor became a symbol of enduring leadership and a reminder of what could be achieved when rulers put the needs of their people and the principles of unity above all else. It stood as a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of collaboration, guiding future generations as they navigated the challenges of their own time. Mara and Kale's vision, enshrined within its walls, lived on, shaping the course of history long after their reign had ended. As Mara and Kale dedicated themselves to the projects that would solidify their legacy, they found themselves surrounded by a growing number of individuals who shared their vision. Scholars came forward with new ideas for the educational initiatives, proposing innovative ways to integrate knowledge from both kingdoms. Environmentalists offered their expertise, suggesting methods to enhance the sustainability of the land and ensure the success of the reforestation programs. Artists, inspired by the rulers' commitment to cultural preservation, contributed their talents to beautify the new centers of learning and the Grand Hall of History. Even ordinary citizens, driven by a desire to contribute, volunteered their time and resources to the cause. These interactions were a source of great pride for Mara and Kale, as they saw their mission resonating across all levels of society. The enthusiasm and support from the people were more than just affirmations of the ruler's efforts. They were a powerful reminder of the impact that leadership could have when guided by a shared purpose. Mara and Kale were deeply moved by the willingness of so many to participate in the building of a future that reflected the ideals they had championed. It was clear that the legacy they were creating was not just their own but belonged to everyone who had been touched by their vision. This realization filled them with a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that their work had inspired a collective movement toward positive change. As the projects progressed, the excitement in the air was palpable. The educational and cultural centers began to take shape, with the sounds of construction mingling with the voices of those who were eagerly planning the future within their walls. The reforestation efforts saw new life sprouting where devastation once reigned, as trees were planted and wildlife began to return. The Grand Hall of History started to rise, its foundation laid with care, and its walls adorned with the stories of unity, resilience, and hope. Each step forward was a testament to the enduring spirit of the people and the strength of Mara and Kale's leadership. The Grand Hall, in particular, became a focal point of excitement and anticipation. Artists and historians worked tirelessly to capture the essence of the kingdom's journey, creating murals and exhibits that would immortalize the pivotal moments of their shared history. The hall was designed to be more than just a museum. It was a place of reflection, a space where visitors could connect with the past and draw inspiration for the future. As the structure neared completion, Mara and Kale envisioned the generations of leaders and citizens who would walk its halls, learning from the struggles and triumphs that had shaped their world. Throughout this period of intense activity, Mara and Kale continued to engage with the people who came to them. They held open forums where ideas could be exchanged, listened to concerns and suggestions, and celebrated the small victories along the way. These moments of connection reinforced their belief in the power of collaboration and the importance of fostering a sense of ownership among their people. The legacy they were building was not just about monuments or programs. It was about creating a lasting culture of unity and cooperation that would endure long after their reign. As the projects approached their final stages, Mara and Kale took time to reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. They walked through the gardens that had once been symbols of their early triumphs, now surrounded by new growth that mirrored the flourishing spirit of their kingdoms. These quiet moments of reflection allowed them to appreciate the full scope of what they had achieved together. They understood that their work was not just about securing the present but about planting seeds for a future where peace, knowledge, and sustainability would thrive. The legacy that Mara and Kale were crafting was not merely about the physical structures or the policies they implemented. It was about the values they instilled and the example they set for future generations. They knew that the true measure of their success would be seen in the leaders who followed in their footsteps, guided by the principles of compassion, collaboration, and visionary thinking. With this understanding, they continued to work with unwavering dedication, knowing that their legacy would be carried forward by those who believed in the power of unity. In the end, Mara and Kale's legacy was not defined by a single act or achievement, but by the enduring impact of their leadership. The institutions they established, the alliances they forged, and the culture they nurtured all served as a foundation for a future where their kingdoms could continue to prosper together. Their work was far from over, but they faced the future with confidence, knowing that they had laid the groundwork for a world where their vision of peace, unity, and progress would endure for generations to come. In their private moments, Mara and Kale often found solace in the serenity of the gardens, a place that had become a sanctuary for reflection amidst their many responsibilities. Here, surrounded by the beauty they had nurtured, they would walk side by side, discussing the weight of their achievements and the future they were shaping. The gentle rustling of leaves and the vibrant colors of the flowers served as a reminder of the harmony they had worked so hard to cultivate, both within their realms and within their hearts. It was in these quiet moments that the true depth of their partnership was most evident, as they contemplated the legacy they were building together. Their conversations frequently turned to the impact they wished to have on the world. For Mara and Kale, the victories they had achieved were not merely about winning battles or securing peace. They were about establishing a lasting foundation for the future. They envisioned a legacy that went beyond their reigns, a legacy rooted in the ideals of unity, cooperation, and shared progress. They knew that the strength of their kingdoms lay not just in their military or economic power but in the values they had cultivated and the relationships they had forged. This understanding drove them to ensure that these principles would endure long after they were gone. As they reflected on their journey, Mara and Kale realized that their most significant accomplishments were those that fostered connection and understanding among their people. They had seen firsthand the transformative power of collaboration, not only in overcoming external threats but also in bridging the divides that had once separated their realms. It was this spirit of unity that they hoped to pass on to future generations. They believed that the true measure of their success would be seen in the continued strength of the bonds they had helped create and the ongoing pursuit of shared goals across their kingdoms. Their legacy, they knew, would not be defined by the grandeur of their accomplishments alone but by the enduring impact of their leadership. They talked at length about the importance of preserving the values that had guided them: integrity, compassion, and a commitment to the greater good. These were the principles that had sustained them through the darkest times and had driven their most significant achievements. By embedding these values into the very fabric of their societies, they hoped to inspire future leaders to follow in their footsteps, leading with both wisdom and heart. Mara and Kale also recognized that their legacy would be shaped by the stories told about their reign. They understood the power of narrative in shaping perceptions and inspiring action. As such, they were careful to ensure that the history of their kingdoms was recorded with honesty and integrity. They wanted future generations to learn from both their successes and their failures, understanding that the path to progress was rarely straightforward. By sharing the lessons they had learned, they hoped to equip others with the knowledge and inspiration needed to continue the work they had started. Their discussions often touched on the importance of education and cultural exchange as cornerstones of their legacy. They believed that by fostering intellectual curiosity and creative expression, they could help cultivate a society that valued knowledge, innovation, and mutual respect. To this end, they had established institutions that would serve as beacons of learning and creativity, places where people from all walks of life could come together to share ideas and build a brighter future. These initiatives were a reflection of their deep belief in the power of education to transform lives and strengthen communities. As they strolled through the gardens, Mara and Kale would occasionally pause to admire the beauty around them, their thoughts turning to the generations that would follow. They imagined a future where their kingdoms continued to thrive, guided by the principles they had championed. They envisioned a world where the pursuit of peace and understanding was not just a goal but a way of life. A world where the seeds of unity they had planted would continue to grow, blossoming into something even greater than they had ever dreamed. As the years unfolded, Mara and Kale witnessed the gradual realization of their vision. The foundations they had laid began to blossom, reflecting the values they had championed throughout their reign. The educational centers they had established became hubs of intellectual growth, attracting scholars and students from across their realms. These institutions not only provided knowledge but also fostered a sense of shared identity, bridging gaps between their once divided kingdoms. The cultural exchanges that flourished within these centers allowed for a deeper understanding and appreciation of the diverse traditions that had shaped their people. This, in turn, strengthened the bonds of unity that Mara and Kale had worked so hard to forge. The environmental projects they had initiated also thrived. The reforestation efforts bore fruit, with lush forests gradually reclaiming lands that had been scarred by conflict. The creation of protected wildlife reserves ensured that the natural beauty of their kingdoms would be preserved for future generations. Sustainable agricultural and industrial practices took root, leading to a healthier relationship between their people and the environment. Mara and Kale knew that their commitment to environmental stewardship was a vital part of their legacy, one that would serve as a reminder of the interconnectedness between the land and its inhabitants. The Grand Hall of History and Honor, a monumental structure they had commissioned, quickly became a beacon of inspiration. Within its walls, the stories of resilience, cooperation, and leadership were vividly brought to life. The hall served as a living museum, chronicling the journey of their kingdoms from division to unity. Visitors from near and far came to witness the pivotal moments that had defined their era, drawing lessons from the past to guide their own futures. The hall became a testament to the enduring power of leadership rooted in compassion, vision, and a deep commitment to the greater good. As Mara and Kale continued to oversee these projects, they were heartened by the support and enthusiasm of their people. Scholars, environmentalists, artists, and ordinary citizens alike flocked to contribute to the legacy they were building. The rulers took time to engage with these individuals, listening to their ideas and incorporating their insights into their ongoing initiatives. These interactions filled Mara and Kale with pride and fulfillment, as they saw their people actively participating in the realization of their shared vision. It was a reminder that their legacy was not just about the structures they had built, but about the movement they had inspired, a movement grounded in hope, collaboration, and progress. In their quieter moments, Mara and Kale often found solace in the gardens that had become a sanctuary of reflection. As they strolled through the carefully tended paths, they would discuss the legacy they hoped to leave behind. Their conversations were filled with a sense of purpose, as they talked about the importance of nurturing the ideals they had fought for. They knew that the work they had started would need to be carried forward by future generations, and they were determined to ensure that their vision of unity, peace, and understanding would continue to inspire long after they were gone. As the years passed, the tangible results of their efforts became increasingly evident. The educational centers produced leaders and innovators who would carry their kingdoms into a prosperous future. The environmental projects restored and protected the land, ensuring that its resources would be available for generations to come. The Hall of History stood as a symbol of hope, reminding all who entered of the power of unity and the importance of learning from the past. Mara and Kale took great pride in seeing their legacy take shape, knowing that their dedication had left a lasting impact on the world. In the twilight of their reign, Mara and Kale reflected on the journey they had undertaken together. They had faced numerous challenges, but through it all, they had remained steadfast in their commitment to their people and their vision. They knew that their legacy was not just a reflection of their leadership, but also a testament to the strength of their partnership. Together, they had built a future of peace, prosperity, and progress, a future that would echo through the ages as a shining example of what could be achieved through unity, determination, and unwavering love for their people. Chapter 70, Epilogue. The sun rose gently over the horizon, casting a golden light across the sprawling gardens of the palace. The world seemed to bask in a peaceful glow, a fitting reflection of the tranquility that had settled over the kingdoms. Mara and Kale stood together, overlooking the verdant landscape that had been transformed through their efforts. The gardens were a vibrant tapestry of colors, a testament to their commitment to both nature and unity. Every blossom, tree, and carefully tended path spoke to the dedication they had poured into nurturing a vision of harmony that would endure for generations. The gardens had always been a special place for Mara and Kale, a sanctuary where they could find solace and inspiration amid the challenges they faced. Now, as they stood side by side, the beauty of the surroundings filled them with a profound sense of accomplishment. The lush greenery and blooming flowers were a living symbol of the peace they had worked so hard to achieve. It was here, in the heart of the gardens, that they often reflected on their journey, on the battles fought, the alliances forged, and the dreams that had guided them through even the darkest times. As they walked along the winding paths, the memories of their shared struggles and triumphs seemed to come alive in the gentle rustling of leaves and the soft fragrance of the flowers. Each step reminded them of the decisions they had made, the risks they had taken, and the unwavering commitment they had shown to their people and each other. The gardens were more than just a place of beauty. They were a living legacy, a reminder of the power of perseverance, unity, and vision. Mara and Kale's gaze fell upon a particularly grand tree, its branches stretching toward the sky, providing shade and shelter to all who sought it. This tree, planted during one of their earliest initiatives to restore the land, had grown strong and tall over the years, mirroring the strength of their bond and the resilience of their kingdoms. It stood as a silent witness to the passage of time, a symbol of the deep roots they had established together and the far-reaching impact of their leadership. Their conversation turned to the future as they continued their walk. They spoke of the legacy they were leaving behind, a legacy of peace, sustainability, and collaboration that would guide their people for years to come. Mara and Kale knew that the work they had done would resonate through the ages, shaping the lives of those who would inherit the world they had built. Their dream was not just of a prosperous kingdom, but of a world where cooperation and understanding were the cornerstones of progress. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the garden paths, Mara and Kale paused near a fountain that sparkled with the morning light. The water, clear and pure, danced in the air, reflecting their hopes for the future. They knew that the peace they had achieved was not an end, but a beginning. The foundations they had laid were solid, but it would be up to future generations to build upon them, to continue the work they had started, and to preserve the values they held dear. Their hearts swelled with pride as they considered the lives they had touched, the communities they had healed, and the progress they had fostered. The gardens, like their kingdoms, had flourished under their care, growing into something beautiful and enduring. And as they stood there, hand in hand, they felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that their efforts had made a difference, that they had created a legacy that would stand the test of time. As they turned to leave the gardens, Mara and Kale exchanged a glance filled with unspoken understanding. The journey they had taken together had been long and arduous, but it had led them to this moment of peace and contentment. The world around them was a testament to their vision, their leadership, and their love. And though their work was far from finished, they knew that they would face whatever came next with the same strength and unity that had brought them this far. As Mara and Kale strolled through the lush pathways of the palace gardens, hand in hand, they were overcome with a profound sense of accomplishment. The journey they had embarked on together had been one of challenges, triumphs, and unwavering commitment to their shared vision. Now, as they walked through the vibrant gardens, every flower, tree, and carefully cultivated space stood as a living symbol of the legacy they had built. The institutions they had established, the foundations they had laid, and the unity they had fostered in their kingdoms were all tangible reminders of the impact they had made. The sense of fulfillment that filled their hearts was matched only by the quiet pride in knowing that their efforts would resonate for generations to come. Their steps eventually led them to the Grand Hall of History, a structure they had envisioned as a living testament to their people's resilience and cooperation. The hall was no longer just a monument. It had become a bustling center of learning and celebration, a place where people from all walks of life gathered to reflect on the past and draw inspiration for the future. As they approached, the sounds of lively conversation and laughter spilled out into the gardens, a testament to the hall's role as a beacon of hope and unity. Inside, the walls were adorned with murals that depicted the story of their kingdoms, a transformation from conflict to cooperation, from division to unity. The murals told a story not just of Mara and Kale, but of the people they had led. Each brushstroke captured the essence of their journey, the battles fought, the alliances forged, the sacrifices made, and the ultimate victory that had brought peace to their lands. As they stood before these vibrant works of art, Mara and Kale were reminded of the countless lives that had been touched by their leadership. The images of diverse faces, young and old, smiling and hopeful, filled them with a sense of pride. Their legacy was not just in the physical structures they had built, but in the hearts and minds of those who now carried forward the ideals of unity and progress. The Grand Hall was more than a place to honor the past. It was a hub of knowledge and cultural exchange. Scholars, students, artists, and citizens gathered there to learn from the lessons of history and to forge new paths for the future. The murals served as a starting point for discussions, debates, and innovations that would shape the next chapter of their kingdoms. Mara and Kale had always believed in the power of education and collaboration, and seeing their vision realized in this way was deeply satisfying. The hall had become a symbol of the enduring power of their partnership and the values they held dear. As they continued their walk, Mara and Kale couldn't help but reflect on the early days of their journey, when the path ahead had seemed uncertain and fraught with obstacles. They remembered the difficult decisions, the moments of doubt, and the challenges that had tested their resolve. Yet, standing in the midst of the flourishing gardens, surrounded by the fruits of their labor, they knew that every trial had been worth it. Their efforts had not only secured peace but had also sown the seeds of a brighter future. The Grand Hall of History, the educational centers, and the environmental projects were all proof that their dreams had taken root and grown into something truly extraordinary. Their thoughts turned to the future, to the generations that would come after them. Mara and Kale knew that their work was not finished, but they were confident that the foundations they had laid would continue to guide their people toward prosperity and harmony. The Grand Hall would stand as a reminder of the importance of unity, the gardens would inspire a love for nature, and the institutions they had created would nurture the minds of those who would lead in the years to come. The legacy they had built was not just for their own time but for all who would follow in their footsteps. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the gardens, Mara and Kale paused for a moment of quiet reflection. They had achieved much, but their greatest accomplishment was the enduring bond they had forged between themselves, their people, and the land they cherished. Their journey had been one of transformation, and the world they had helped create was a reflection of that change. With a shared look of understanding, they knew that whatever challenges the future might bring, they would face them together, guided by the same principles that had led them this far. As they walked back toward the palace, their hearts were light, and their spirits were lifted by the knowledge that they had made a lasting difference. The path they had walked was one of vision, determination, and love for their people and each other. And as they looked out over the verdant landscape, they knew that their legacy would continue to inspire hope and unity for generations to come. The sight of children laughing and learning in the heart of their kingdoms filled Mara and Kale with a deep sense of fulfillment. As they watched the young students engage in activities ranging from scientific experiments to artistic creations and historical explorations, they were reminded of the long journey that had brought them to this moment. The Grand Hall of History, once just a vision, now stood as a beacon of knowledge and inspiration. Its walls, adorned with murals, told the story of their kingdom's transformation from conflict to cooperation, from division to unity. The scenes depicted their struggles and triumphs, a visual testament to the power of collaboration and shared purpose. Beyond the halls of learning, the environmental initiatives they had championed had also come to fruition. The reforestation efforts had transformed barren lands into lush green forests, teeming with life. Wildlife reserves flourished, providing safe havens for countless species, and sustainable agricultural practices had revitalized the land, ensuring that future generations would inherit a world where nature and civilization thrived in harmony. As Mara and Kale walked through these revitalized landscapes, they felt a profound connection to the earth beneath their feet and the skies above. The natural beauty they had fought to protect was now a living symbol of their legacy. The two rulers shared a quiet smile, their hearts swelling with pride as they observed the fruits of their labor being enjoyed by future generations. The laughter of children, the vibrant discussions of scholars, and the flourishing ecosystems around them were all part of the world they had envisioned. It was a world where knowledge, creativity, and respect for nature were not just ideals but everyday realities. Their vision had taken root in the hearts and minds of their people, and the positive change they had worked so hard to achieve was now evident in every corner of their kingdoms. As they strolled hand in hand through the lush pathways of the palace gardens, Mara and Kale reflected on the profound sense of accomplishment that filled them. The foundations they had laid, the institutions they had established, and the alliances they had forged stood as enduring symbols of their journey. These achievements were not just milestones. They were the building blocks of a future that would continue to grow and evolve long after their time. The Grand Hall of History, with its murals and bustling activity, was just one manifestation of their enduring impact. Every step they took through the gardens was a reminder of the unity and cooperation that had guided their path. The gardens themselves were a vibrant tapestry of colors, a reflection of their commitment to both nature and unity. The flowers bloomed in harmonious shades, and the trees stood tall and strong, much like the alliances they had nurtured over the years. Each plant and tree in the garden symbolized the diversity and strength of their people, growing together in a shared space. As they paused to admire the beauty around them, Mara and Kale knew that these gardens, like their kingdoms, would continue to flourish as long as the values they had upheld, unity, collaboration, and respect for the natural world, remained at the heart of their people's lives. The Grand Hall of History, now a bustling center of learning and celebration, was more than just a monument. It was a living tribute to the power of hope and the strength of partnership. Inside its walls, scholars, artists, and citizens gathered to exchange ideas, celebrate achievements, and learn from the past. The hall had become a place where the legacy of Mara and Kale was not only preserved but actively built upon. It was a space where the lessons of their journey inspired new generations to pursue peace, knowledge, and progress. In this way, the Grand Hall was a bridge between the past, present, and future, a place where the ideals of unity and cooperation would continue to thrive. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the gardens and the Grand Hall, Mara and Kale took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought them here. They had faced countless challenges, from the brink of war to the complexities of rebuilding their kingdoms. Yet, through it all, they had remained steadfast in their commitment to a shared vision. The world they had helped create was one of possibility, a testament to what could be achieved when people came together with a common purpose. With each passing day, their legacy grew stronger, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those who would follow in their footsteps. As they looked toward the horizon, Mara and Kale knew that their work was not yet complete. There would always be new challenges to face, new opportunities to seize, and new dreams to pursue. But with the foundations they had built, they were confident that the future was bright. Their journey had shown them that true leadership was not just about achieving goals, but about inspiring others to continue the work. And so, hand in hand, they walked forward into the future, ready to face whatever came next, secure in the knowledge that their legacy would endure for generations to come. Their love, which had been a guiding light throughout their trials, had only deepened over the years. It was a bond forged in the fires of adversity, tested and tempered by the many challenges they had faced. From the earliest days of their alliance, their relationship had been characterized by an unshakable trust and an unwavering support for one another. The struggles they endured together had solidified their connection, transforming their partnership from a mere alliance into a profound and enduring love. As they navigated the complex landscape of leadership and conflict, their love served as both a sanctuary and a source of strength. It was in the quiet moments of reflection, away from the demands of their roles, that their bond truly flourished. They found solace in each other's presence, drawing strength from their shared experiences and the deep understanding they had cultivated. This intimacy allowed them to confront the most daunting challenges with a sense of unity and resolve, knowing that they could rely on one another through thick and thin. The trials they faced were not just external obstacles but tests of their relationship as well. Each challenge, whether it was a strategic decision or a personal struggle, was met with a mutual respect and a commitment to their shared vision. Their love was not merely a passive feeling but an active force that propelled them forward, motivating them to overcome difficulties and continue working towards their goals. It was this dynamic interplay of affection and ambition that defined their partnership and guided their actions. Their journey together had been extraordinary, marked by moments of both great triumph and profound hardship. They celebrated victories side by side, their joy amplified by the knowledge that they had achieved these successes together. The challenges they faced only served to deepen their connection, reinforcing the idea that their love was the bedrock upon which everything was built. It was through their collective efforts and shared experiences that they forged a path towards a future defined by peace and collaboration. In their moments of triumph, their love was a testament to the power of shared purpose. They had not only achieved their goals but had done so with a sense of grace and mutual respect. Their accomplishments were a reflection of their deep bond and the strength they drew from one another. As they looked back on their journey, they saw not just the victories and milestones, but the love that had sustained them through the most trying times. The passage of time only served to strengthen their love, imbuing it with a sense of permanence and depth. They continued to build upon the foundation of their relationship, using it as a source of inspiration and motivation. Their partnership was not just a feature of their lives but the very essence of their shared journey. It was a love that had evolved and grown, becoming a central element of their identities and their legacy. As they reflected on their accomplishments and the world they had helped shape, they knew that their love had been the driving force behind their success. It was a love that transcended their roles as rulers, touching the very core of their beings. Their partnership had been the catalyst for their achievements, a reminder of the power of unity and the importance of maintaining a deep and abiding connection. In the end, their journey was defined not just by their leadership, but by the love that had sustained and inspired them. It was a love that had weathered the storms of adversity and had emerged stronger, shaping their legacy and guiding their future. As they continued to walk through life together, they carried with them the knowledge that their love was the true cornerstone of their achievements, a beacon that would light the way for generations to come. As they stood together, gazing out at the world they had helped shape, Mara and Cale were filled with a profound sense of anticipation. The landscape before them, transformed by their efforts, was a testament to their hard work and vision. The sprawling gardens, bustling educational centers, and thriving environmental projects were tangible symbols of their achievements. Yet, as they looked out at the horizon, they felt an overwhelming sense of possibility and excitement for what lay ahead. The world they had helped create was vibrant and full of potential, and they were eager to see how it would continue to evolve. The foundations they had laid were not just monuments to past successes, but were envisioned as a launching pad for future endeavors. Mara and Cale understood that their work was ongoing and that their roles as leaders were ever evolving. The strength of their accomplishments provided a solid base, but it was the opportunities and challenges that lay beyond that truly captivated their imagination. They knew that the future would bring new adventures, and they were determined to face these with the same energy and dedication that had guided their past efforts. Their hearts were open to the unknown, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. The journey they had undertaken was marked by adaptability and a willingness to confront the unexpected. As they looked toward the future, they were mindful of the lessons they had learned and the strength they had gained. Their experiences had prepared them for new challenges, and they approached the future with a sense of readiness and optimism. The unknown was no longer a source of fear but a realm of opportunity and discovery. Mara and Cale's shared vision for the future was a reflection of their deep commitment to progress and unity. They had worked tirelessly to build a foundation that would support their kingdoms and inspire future generations. Now, As they faced the horizon, they envisioned a world where their ideals of collaboration and innovation could continue to flourish. Their passion for creating a better world was undiminished, and they were excited to explore the new paths that lay before them. The anticipation they felt was not just for their own journey but for the potential impact they could have on the world. They were acutely aware of the responsibility that came with their leadership and the opportunity to shape a future that extended beyond their own lifetimes. Their achievements had set the stage for new possibilities, and they were eager to see how their legacy would influence the next generation of leaders and citizens. The future was a canvas waiting to be painted with new ideas and endeavors. As they prepared to step into the future, Mara and Kale took solace in the strength of their partnership. Their bond had been a cornerstone of their success, and it continued to be a source of inspiration and support. They knew that facing the unknown together would allow them to draw upon their shared strengths and insights. Their relationship had been forged through adversity and triumph, and it would be the bedrock upon which they would build their next chapter. With hearts full of hope and eyes fixed on the horizon, Mara and Kale embraced the future with a sense of excitement and determination. They were ready to tackle new challenges, explore fresh opportunities, and continue their journey of growth and discovery. Their story was far from over. It was a continuous adventure that would unfold with each new step they took. They stood poised at the edge of a new era, ready to lead with the same courage and passion that had defined their past. In this moment of reflection and anticipation, Mara and Kale were reminded of the enduring power of their vision and the boundless possibilities that lay before them. The world they had helped create was a testament to their dedication, and it now served as a springboard for their future endeavors. With unwavering resolve and an open heart, they prepared to embark on the next chapter of their journey, confident that their legacy would continue to inspire and shape the world for generations to come. With one last look at the horizon, Mara and Kale turned to each other, their eyes reflecting a shared understanding and excitement. The golden light of the setting sun cast a warm glow on their faces, highlighting the depth of their connection and the journey they had undertaken together. The expansive view before them was a canvas of possibilities, a reminder of the vast potential that lay ahead. Their gaze met with a silent acknowledgement of the many challenges they had overcome and the promise of new adventures that awaited. They knew that their journey was far from over, that there were still many chapters left to write in the story of their lives and their kingdoms. The path ahead was filled with opportunities for growth, exploration, and continued collaboration. As they stood together, they felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The future was an open book, and they were eager to continue crafting the narrative of their shared vision and leadership. But for now, Mara and Kale chose to embrace the present moment, savoring the peace and joy they had achieved. The tranquility that enveloped them was a testament to their hard work, resilience, and the deep bond they had forged. They took a moment to reflect on the strides they had made and the impact they had had on their people and their lands. This pause allowed them to fully appreciate the fruits of their labor and the serenity they had fought so hard to attain. As they walked side by side into the future, their love and their legacy intertwined seamlessly. Their relationship had been the foundation of their success, a source of strength and inspiration throughout their journey. The legacy they had built was not just a collection of achievements, but a reflection of their shared values and aspirations. Their love for each other and their commitment to their people were the driving forces behind their continued efforts. Ready to face whatever new adventures awaited them, Mara and Kale embraced the future with unwavering hope and boundless enthusiasm. The challenges they had faced had only strengthened their resolve and deepened their connection. They approached the unknown with a sense of excitement and curiosity, eager to explore the new possibilities that lay before them. Their optimism was a guiding light, illuminating their path forward. The future held countless possibilities, and Mara and Kale were prepared to seize each one with courage and determination. Their journey had equipped them with the wisdom and experience needed to navigate the complexities of leadership and collaboration. They were ready to tackle new obstacles and explore new opportunities, confident in their ability to make a positive impact on their world. In the midst of their excitement for the future, they remained grounded in the present, cherishing the moments of peace and fulfillment that they had achieved. The balance between savoring their accomplishments and preparing for the next chapter was a delicate one, but it was one they navigated with grace and purpose. Their journey was a testament to their resilience, love, and dedication. As they took their final steps towards the horizon, Mara and Kale knew that their story was far from complete. The adventures and challenges that lay ahead were opportunities to build upon the legacy they had created. With hearts full of hope and eyes set on the future, they walked forward together, ready to embrace whatever came next with the same passion and commitment that had defined their remarkable journey.